David O'Doherty says all Democrat candidates are cringe. AIU should run. Alright, that's a weird opinion. Pineapple says my
AIU, who's that?
Atheism is unstoppable. He's a YouTuber, an atheist YouTuber who once made a video about should I speak to Richard Spencer or no?
I contacted him. Yeah.
And it never happened.
Never panned out. Yeah.
I am son and heir of nothing in particular. You should your mouth, how can you say I go about things the wrong way? I am human and I need to belong, just like everybody else does.
May I have your attention, please? It is time to celebrate. What's the occasion? Why are we celebrating? Well, we just set a murderer free from prison. She's officially out. We're talking about Cyntoia Brown, which is a good word to describe her because she's half white and half black. So, I mean, you call her gray, but brown works too. So the thing about Cyntoia is that her mom is white trash. And she hooked up with a black guy, the black guy left. I know, it's shocking, but shit happens. Anyway, when she was 16 years old, she was hanging out with a boyfriend slash pimp. I don't know what you'd call it, but a bimp. He was a guy named Cuddy. Yeah, black guy. Anyway, he was pimping his girl, as you do, and she decided to take it upon herself to kill a John, a white guy. Killed him in cold blood at his house for no damn reason. Oh, aside from the fact that she stole his pocket change, his money. So she shot him 4 times in the back and left. Anyway, she went to jail for 15 years, but turns out that people like Rihanna and Kim Kardashian took a look at this girl. They found out about her story somehow, and she looked kind of cute. She a kind of cute looking girl, and she of color. So I guess let's set her free. She killed a white guy. I mean, is that really a crime? So now St. Francis of Scotland, he came in and he's celebrating this. He's tap dancing on the grave of this white man and doesn't give a single fuck about him. As evidenced by the title of his video, check this. Oh God, I can't even look at it. Okay, look at the title of this. Sex trafficking victim finally freed from jail. So what? She's a victim. She's the victim. Wait a minute, she's in jail because she victimized someone else. She killed a man. Cypress Hill style, okay? She's a murderer, but apparently, no, she's the victim and now she's freed. She's free and it's great because, I mean, she's a woman of color. So let's just overlook that murder thing that she did. That video right now has 579,000 views on Facebook. It's 4 minutes long. I'm about to shove all of those 4 minutes down your brain and pepper it with my witty commentary. Or die trying.
Here is something you can't understand. How I can just kill a man. Here is something you can't understand. How I can just kill a man. Here is something you can't understand. How I can just kill a man. Here is something you can't understand. How I can just kill a man. Here is something you can't understand.
Do you understand why you're here?
Cyntoia Brown left prison early this morning.
The now 31-year-old was granted an early release from her life sentence.
Brown was 16 at the time, but under Tennessee law was tried as an adult and sentenced to life in prison for murder.
I have prayed for a very long time to be able to meet with you. I am a changed person because I have no choice but to be.
Well, that's all very sweet. I'm glad you're praying. I'm not sure that's how parole works. If you pray, you get out. Also, the fact that you've changed, yeah, you've been in prison for 15 years. I would suspect you changed. The problem is, you know who's not changing? That would be Johnny Michael Allen. I mean, technically, if he was buried, he is changing by decomposing. Having said that, it has been over 15 years, so he is probably decayed fully at this stage. You know, it just goes to show that out of sight, out of mind. We're looking at this cute girl, and we're thinking, oh God, how can we help her? There's not a split screen of old Johnny lying in the ground. Whatever happened to old Johnny? Does anybody know? What did he do to deserve to die? Oh right, nothing.
At the age of 16, sex trafficking victim Cyntoia Brown was tried as an adult.
Fucking hell. Sex trafficking victim is how he wants to frame her? She's a murderer, Francis. I mean, I know you're a really nuanced guy and you're aware of morality. Murder's bad, my man. So the fact that she was a sex trafficking victim, you might want to go take that up with her black pimp, not the random guy that hired her for the night.
For killing a man who had picked her up at a local Sonic to have sex with her.
Also, this whole thing about trying someone as an adult, 16 is an adult in my book, especially when it comes to murder. So my question to the wider world is, when was that decided? What age we're trying people as adults? I get it if it's someone 10 years or younger. Shit, I even get prepubescent crime. It reminds me of pedophilia, because pedophilia, the word actually refers to people who are attracted to people under the age of puberty. I think that's the strict definition of it. I haven't researched it like you guys. But in common usage, if you're hooking up with anyone underage, it could be a 17-and-a-half-year-old, people might refer to you as a pedophile. So this whole thing of trying her as an adult, the consequence is as dire and drastic as can be. Murder is murder. So it brings me back to, who is deciding what age we're trying people as adults, and for which crimes? Like, when has that been reviewed, and how can that be changed? I didn't vote on that.
He just grabbed me, like, in between my legs, like, he just grabbed it real hard.
Who are you? Were you out with Donald Trump?
She was convicted and sentenced to life in prison.
Yeah, slow down when you say life in prison to make it sound worse than it is. She took a life, Francis. Johnny Allen is sentenced to oblivion forever.
Today, after spending 15 years in jail, she walked free.
This fucking cunt is saying that like it's good, like it's justice. In what galaxy can you define a murderer walking free as justice? Fuck you, Francis.
Brown spent nearly half her life behind bars, and during that time, while she was here at the Tennessee Prison for Women behind me...
Can anyone tell me what accent this is that we're listening to? I'm like 98% confirmed that this dude's an alien.
She earned her associate's degree and inspired scores of people to champion her release.
Her case captured the eyes of the nation, with many celebrities like Kim Kardashian and Rihanna advocating for her release.
Yeah, when has Rihanna and Kim Kardashian been wrong about a capital murder case? They're experts, right? I mean, they have big asses, so there's that.
Stating that she took action against her would-be predator.
Hold on. Her would-be predator? For starters, Francis, she was a whore, a prostitute, for many, many months. So this is not her first John. This is not some predator. This is a guy who had a business arrangement that she was down with. She took money for this. This was not her first rodeo. So don't try to paint it like she was just this innocent lamb. She went out, negotiated a deal, $150. All he was planning on doing was sleeping with her and paying her the money. And here's a newsflash, he had no idea she was 16. She said she was of age, 18. So the guy did nothing wrong, wasn't a predator, and didn't deserve to die. We clear?
After spending years being abused as a sex trafficking victim.
Wait a minute, after years of being abused as a sex trafficking victim, okay, again, this is such a desperate, try-hard attempt for you to paint her as the victim. Even if I were to grant you that she was being manipulated by someone else, that someone else was her pimp, not the John. She didn't kill the pimp, she killed the John. She was being abused by the pimp, not the John. And the John was named Johnny.
That I was slipping and then I was starting to become a slouch. That I needed to get out and get on my grind and get some money.
Yeah, there's Cutthroat. Cutthroat, he had spelling issues, but he was a black pimp. So they were on drugs, they're white trash, or mulatto trash. See, if I said that, I can't even fucking say that. I can say white trash. If I were to say mulatto bleep, that would be a strike, guaranteed. Anyway, yeah, Cutthroat wasn't harmed in any of this. So you're mixing it up a little bit, Francis. You're struggling to make this rational. It's not.
One time, the first time he did something to me is when he choked me and I passed out.
Yeah. And Francis, she's talking about Cutthroat there. I've seen the documentary. Cutthroat choked her and made her pass out, not Johnny Allen. So throwing that in is completely irrelevant to what she did, which was to murder a man.
Now, I myself have covered her case extensively.
Oh, bravo. Hold on. Applause? Can we cut to applause? Shia LaBeouf, are you around?
And thanks to the tireless work of activists and local organizers in Tennessee.
Kind of like you, Francis, you're tireless. Is this work? Am I witnessing you working right now?
Governor Bill Haslam took the unusual step of granting Brown clemency for what he had called a tragic and complex case.
Shooting a man in the back 4 times is complex? No, it's as simple as can be.
And so, she was granted that clemency and subject to release. Since Brown's case, the US Supreme Court has ruled that mandatory life sentences without parole for juvenile offenders are not constitutional.
Well, I disagree with the Supreme Court, and we need to take a hard look at that and determine what we're calling juveniles. I mean, what are we basing this off? Age of consent? Because that's 14 in Germany. So are they sending 14-year-olds to prison for life in Germany? I mean, what is the criteria here? She was a working girl, she knew what she was doing, she knew the difference between right and wrong. Why are we treating her like a toddler?
But despite this, months prior to Haslam's decision to grant her clemency, Tennessee prosecutors actually successfully argued that Brown would technically become eligible for parole after 51 years, that being in 2055.
Oh, are we still talking about Cyntoia Brown? Oh yeah, 51 years, that's a long time for poor Cyntoia Brown. Our focus is on Cyntoia Brown. What about Johnny Allen? The reason we're here, the reason this is a case at all. Francis, you gonna mention his grieving family? His children? No? No B-roll of his friends weeping? Images of him? His life? His dreams? No. Who cares? Fuck him.
Brown, who is now 31 years old, was among more than 180 inmates.
Yeah, that's a really annoying thing that he does. Every time he comes across a number, he slows down and over-enunciates the number as if it makes it more special, more important.
Was among more than 180 inmates.
Today in Los Angeles, it is 78 degrees. With a little bit of a breeze coming from the southwest, it's coming at 5 miles per hour.
Serving life sentences in the state for crimes they committed as teenagers. Now, while in prison, Brown obtained her GED, finished her bachelor's degree.
Who fucking cares?
And actually mentored at-risk youth, which is something she has vowed to continue upon her release.
Good for her. Well, you know what Johnny Allen has done in that time? Taken part in the circle of life. Mufasa is proud of him.
Now she says she wants to use her experiences to help other women and
Seriously, where's that dude from? Pluto?
girls escape exploitation and abuse.
Now, the reason I took such interest in this case was...
Oh, I got you. Is because you viewed that half-white woman who was raised by a white woman who doesn't know her black father, who was abused by a black pimp. You took her as a woman of color. And you have white guilt to a ridiculously comical degree. And so you thought that, hey, you know, she killed a white man, but, you know, let's free her because justice. I mean, Kim Kardashian and Rihanna said it was cool. I can't wait to see her new Instagram. I gotta follow her and OJ. That's why you did it, Francis. And if it were reversed, the chances that Francis would cover a white woman having killed a black man in cold blood and then fighting for and celebrating the release of said white woman. You know what the chances are for that? I'll do it Francis style. 0.0.
It's time to come together. It's up to you. What's your pleasure? Everyone around the world, come on! It's a celebration.
was that I felt it perfectly exemplified how the system comes down with a hammer on the most vulnerable, marginalized members of society.
What in the fucking sweet love of Christ are you talking about? How is she marginalized and vulnerable? She had a gun and she killed a man. And comes down hard on her? She's a murderer. She's a murder. What do you mean? Wait, are murderers a protected group? Are you fighting for murderer rights? Oh, she was a murderer of color. So I guess, yeah, that makes it complex. And no, it didn't come down hard on her. There's laws in place, sentencing guidelines. You know, we kind of frown on murder, Francis.
But then coddles the wealthy.
Coddles the wealthy. So how interesting. So now he's doing the whole Marxist thing. He's trying to make this a class thing. So, okay, you're just going to love this. He's trying to present the case that, oh, this poor black woman, the only reason, aside from the murder, that she was sent to jail for so long was because she's black. And she had no money. You know, that's not fair, because the people who have money, they get out of jail. So maybe, hey, Francis, cut to OJ. That'd be a perfect comparison here. OJ got off because he had high-priced lawyers who could fudge the jury selection and stuff it with black women and heap a ton of bullshit on the entire process and get OJ off. Why? It wasn't because OJ's black, it's because he was rich. That's right, that's not fair. Are you gonna cut to that? Because both cases are murder, and you could draw the comparison. Like, one guy murdered someone and was rich, he got off. A girl murdered someone, she was poor, she didn't get off. I mean, it's still a horrible comparison because of the differences between the cases, but go for it.
Brown was a victim of sex trafficking as a child.
16 is not a child, and she wasn't a victim. Her victimhood, in terms of what Cutthroat was doing to her, her black pimp, has nothing to do with the way she murdered that dude.
Something Jeffrey Epstein.
Jeffrey Epstein. Going after a white-ish Jewish man who's rich. Right, the famous Jeffrey Epstein murders. Tell us about them.
For example, engaged in. But yet he was given a sweetheart deal and served only 13 months with weekly visits to his office, by the way.
He served 13 months for murder? Jesus, money really can buy you out of anything. Oh, that's right, Jeffrey Epstein didn't murder anyone. Okay, and isn't he the guy that just tried to kill himself because he got thrown in jail? Yeah, Jeffrey's in a bit of trouble now, but yeah, great point, Francis. Money gets you things in life. That's interesting. You know, when else have I heard about money getting you things in life? Oh yeah, remember that girl Cyntoia Brown? How did she get let out of jail? Wasn't it because of the pressure that was put on the authorities by people on social media? Not just people, it wasn't just a rando. It was Rihanna and Kim Kardashian. You know what they have? A platform. You know how they got it? Because they're powerful. You know why they're powerful? Because they're famous. You know what that gave them? Money. They have money and power, and they used it to get Cyntoia Brown out of prison. So the point you think you're making, you're not making. Jeffrey Epstein killed no one. Cyntoia Brown got out of jail because those social influencers have money and power. And they used it to set a murderer free. And you're such a moronic dickhead that you're coming in here talking about isn't it great?
Before journalists and advocates pried open the case for further review. And now it seems justice has been done, albeit late, in Epstein's case.
Oh, okay, so that's what it is. It's a big fellatio, self-fellatio. Advocates and activists. We're changing the world. You know, I think it was my last tweet, basically. I think that's what put it over the edge. It was the tweet that broke the camel's back. Keep telling yourself that, Francis. I mean, they have to, because their self-involvement and their lust for narcissism and glorification has no limits. So he has to applaud himself and humble brag that he's saving lives. But you and I know he is a freckled dingleberry.
Just in, a judge ruled this afternoon that federal prosecutors broke the law when they signed a plea agreement with Jeffrey Epstein. That's because the agreement was hidden from 30 of his underage victims.
And there are countless examples of the system working in favor of sexual predators who happen to be wealthy and against victims. And that's something Cyntoia's case has shed an enormous light on.
No, it hasn't. That's something that Cyntoia's case did. The reason Cyntoia is out is because people with money used their money and influence to get her out. It's no different from OJ or Epstein. So what side are you on here, Francis? And that doesn't even get to the major point, which is she shouldn't be out of prison. She should be in prison. I wonder if she was not as attractive. I wonder if that would have played a part. I think it would have. Well, looking forward to your next video, Francis, where you try to get a white murderer, a white man who murdered a black man, out of prison. I'll hold my breath. Bye for now.
Acting kinda local, I'm just another local kid from the street getting paid for my vocal. Here is something you can't understand. I could just kill a man. Here is something you can't understand. I could just kill a man.
There is something you can't understand. How I could just kill a man. There is something you can't understand. How I could just kill a man. There is something you can't understand. How I could just kill a man.
I just grabbed the gun and I shot him.
If you like this channel and what Devon provides for you, let him know. You can support the channel in a variety of ways. Sign up on Patreon, PayPal, or Subscribestar.